Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. It's game day.
Is it?
It is.
How sure are we? Oh, my gosh.
You're a little short. What happened to your chair there?
T90. Let me center up here. Hello, everybody. It is, in fact, game day. Welcome to the pre-show before the free show. I'm Greg. That's Ashley. As we are now in what is probably the second most hectic 4 days of the year. I would say for me, in that we got football tonight, right? Got a ton of stuff going on. Football tomorrow night, plus Dave Campbell's Texas football tonight, right? Followed by Saturday, got the Dave Campbell's Texas football tonight playoff bracket reveal show Saturday night. Plus, we got to put together brackets. Plus, we got to put together all the matchup pairings and stuff like that. Plus, all the stuff we usually have on Playoff Central. TexasFootball.com/playoffs is going to be popping. And let me get ahead of this, by the way. We will get you the brackets as soon as we can. I promise you. We want you to have them. It is good for us when you have the brackets. That is a positive for us. But we cannot, we do not, and maybe I haven't done a good enough job enunciating this in the past. We do not release partial brackets. We don't release like incomplete brackets. We wait till the brackets are done. And so yes, after Friday night, 80+% of the bracket will be set. But there are games literally at like 7 o'clock on Saturday that are that have playoff implications. And so we will reveal the brackets live on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight's playoff bracket reveal show, 10:30 p.m. Basically immediately after that, on TexasFootball.com/playoffs, you'll have the brackets. We will put them out there. They'll be yours. You'll have it. But the first place you can get them is Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight's playoff bracket reveal show on Saturday at 10:30 p.m. live wherever you're watching this program. Okay? Anyway, we got all that. We got to put together predictions. We got to do all the stuff that comes along with the playoff brackets. But then what's really interesting about this time of year, and by the way, we're also working on multiple other projects behind the scenes. What's also interesting about this time of year is that starting next week, we have half as much work. Like, there's half as many teams, there's half as many games each week, up until we get down to 24 and eventually to 12 there at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, coming up here in a mere 7 weeks. 7 weeks from today, we'll be there. 7 weeks from right now, we'll be in the middle of the 2A Division I state championship game.
That's wild.
It's 7 weeks from right this second. We'll be there. It'll probably be like mid-second quarter, maybe late second quarter, depending on if these teams run the ball. We don't know who's going to be there, but that's the fun of the playoffs. That's what's going on around here. Other than that, though, we're pretty bored. I've been spending a lot of time reading, spending a lot of time, sleeping. Those are the types of things that we do around here. But it is a big week, obviously, the final week of the Texas high school football regular season. And we're excited. Are you excited?
I am excited.
You sound excited.
Yeah, well, we're not up on Facebook, and it's not working. Zuckerberg is out to get us again. It says on our end that we're up. Zuck said no. So, here we are. Come watch us on YouTube.
We're out on Zuck.
Have been for a long time.
Yeah. The people have spoken. The people have said something about Zuck. But I won't say what they're saying. That would be rude and probably detrimental to our ability to get back up on Facebook.
This is true.
Anyway, hit the theme expo. Yes, y'all. From the new Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show that's got bracket fever. The only cure for it is more football and talking about it. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, maybe not on Facebook. Working on that. Or you'll listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting here in this chair at this desk, sitting over there in a different chair at a different desk with computers on it. She is the Duchess of the Dorks, Miss 305. She's our executive producer. She is Ashley Pickle. What's up, Gizmo?
Howdy.
You living the dream?
Living the dream. Every day.
Everything's great.
Everything's great.
Yeah. No notes.
No notes.
Today is Thursday, November 7th, 2024. 3 weeks to Thanksgiving.
Let's go. Oh, I got big updates on that front. We had to call a little bit of an audible for our Thanksgiving plans, but
Good audible?
ended up being a great audible.
Okay.
From a food perspective.
Yes.
Put in the order for the Cajun fried spicy turkey today.
Oh, hell yeah, brother.
It wasn't going to be on the docket because we were going to go see some other family. That's not going to end up working, unfortunately. So from a family perspective, sad. From a grubbing perspective, I thought I was going to have to go a year without the spicy Cajun fried turkey. And I am here to tell you, alas, like a beacon in the night.
Let's go.
It worked.
God gives his toughest challenges to his strongest soldiers. Happy birthday to, I don't know, Adam Devine. He's 41.
Oh, nice.
And also, that works for me.
Is he Maroon 5 or is that the other Adam?
No. Adam Devine is from Righteous Gemstones.
Oh my gosh, yes, with the curly hair.
He does the God Squad.
Yes.
He's the one who does the God Squad.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
He's the...
What's our favorite character's name? Gosh darn it. Who's his friend? With the blonde hair.
Oh my God.
Kev. It's not Kev. It's something like that.
Keith. No, he plays Kelvin.
Kelvin.
Happy 41st birthday to Kelvin Gemstone.
If you don't know, find out.
Yes. It's episode 1814. On today's show, folks, we're going to roll out the top 10 Texas high school ball games of the week in week 11. Then we're flipping things up a bit because we want to make room for our guest who couldn't join us until later. We're going to have the picks, my high school football predictions for week 11 of the Texas high school football season. Then we'll be go live to Van Zandt County to talk to the head coach of the undefeated Grand Saline Indians. Coach Joe Drennon will join us to talk a little bit about what's popping out there at Grand Saline. Then we're going to be joined by the Hall of Famer, the GOAT, Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer. Joins us every Thursday. We'll talk a little high school football as well as Texas's big matchup with Florida coming up here this week. We'll round it all out with... mailbag final thoughts. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds great to me.
Okay. Do we have first four through the door? Might be a truncated one. We might not.
No, we do because we do it off of YouTube, and that is working. Although, well, ironically enough, it says that the chat is down. So no, I don't know what's happening. There's a monkey on the screen with a hammer that says
what?
Something is wrong.
That rocks.
So,
okay.
And it's funny because it's directed directly at you, so like I'm going to screenshot that. It's perfect.
I got to be honest. If I'm going to get bad news, I want to be told the bad news by
a monkey with a hammer.
Monkey with a hammer or some other tool in his hand. Anyway, the first four through the door are the friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
All right, Pickle. It's week 11, the final week of the Texas high school football regular season here. After tonight, or not really tonight, after this weekend, something like 60% of the teams will be done. Mm-hmm. Something like 60% of the teams will be eliminated. And that stinks. We don't like that. But what we do like is that then the teams that are left, they all know what's up for grabs. The playoffs will start next week. We will have, of course, big coverage on TexasFootball.com, the Texas High School Football Playoffs. But before we get to the playoffs, Pickle, we've got a big Week 11 of games across the state of Texas. And now there's two ways to do a top 10 games this week.
Yes.
You can either go with the games that are have the most at stake, right? Like, for example, I think it's like Celeste and Detroit. Is that right? No, Cumbie and Celeste are playing this week. That is one of the most consequential games in the state because the winner of that game makes the playoffs and the loser of that game goes home. However, from a matchup perspective, it is not the most glamorous matchup in Texas high school football. Respect to Cumbie and Celeste. The other way to do it is the way that we've done it always throughout the course of the regular season, which you just pick out the 10 best games of the week, in my opinion. The 10 best games of the week, and that's what I went with here. So hold your complaints. That's my explanation. I understand that there's a playoff game going on.
It does say Tepper's top 10 Texas high school football games of the week really big on the graphics, so
just blame,
read.
So I'm just saying. Blame Pickle. Let's roll out my top 10 Texas high school football games of the week, starting at number 10, Jonesboro and May. It is a huge state-ranked six-man football game there as Jonesboro looks to finish the year 6-1, while May 7-1, while May looks to finish the year a perfect 8-1, while May looks to finish a perfect 10-0. This is a non-district game that we had circled all year long. Both of these teams are already in the playoffs. Both these teams are 2-0 in their district, but this is a seeding matchup as far as seeds are concerned. The winner will be the number 1 seed out of District 14 1A Division 1. The loser will be the second seed out of 1A out of District 11 or 14 rather. And there are major implications in this one. This is not only a top 10 matchup and obviously a game that we've been excited about, but also the loser of this game, Pickle, plays Gordon in the first round.
10 out of 10 wouldn't recommend doing that.
The defending state champs, the number 1 team in the state, the Gordon Longhorns, the loser of this game will play Baird. And respect to the Bears of Baird,
they're not Gordon.
They are not Gordon. So a huge matchup, a ton on the line here as Jonesboro takes on May with massive implications. Number 9, Cy Woods and Bridgeland. This is a really fascinating ball game. They're in the Wild and Woolly District 16 6A. And for two teams that are 8-1 on the year, the district title is on the line in this one. And furthermore, depending on how things shake out at the bottom of the district, this could, in fact, be for Division I seeding. Bridgeland is locked in at Division I. If Cy Lakes gets in over Cy Ranch, then it may be a situation where there could be they both could go Division I. But for Cy Woods, it's an opportunity to clinch the top seed in whatever division you are in. I'm fascinated to see what happens, and can Cy Woods bounce back from a couple weeks ago when they lost that thriller to Cy Ranch and knocked them from the ranks of the unbeaten. Bridgeland has been rolling along in district undefeated. I've been very impressed with the way that the Bears defense has been playing. I think that's the real money matchup here is Woods' defense versus Bridgeland's defense versus Woods' offense. Fascinating ball game with a lot on the line in District 16 6A. There, Cy Woods and Bridgeland in that game going on tonight down there in Houston. Number 8, Lufkin and Galveston ball. So there's a number of things here to talk about. First of all, we probably haven't talked enough about Lufkin and what they've been able to do. They are on the verge of a district championship. They are 5-0 in district play. They have been rolling. And a couple of weeks ago, they had a win on the road at Port Arthur Memorial, which I think really caused people to sit up and pay attention. Their defense has been lights out. Their defense has given up just 11 points per game. Galveston ball is 8-1 on the year. There is a real their loss is that wild quadruple overtime loss to Barbers Hill a couple of weeks ago. There is a caveat in this one, and that is that Jonah Williams, the superstar do-it-all athlete for Galveston Ball, has been injured the past couple of weeks. We believe that that he will not play in this game. How much does that change things? How can Galveston Ball find other options there? And how much does not having potentially Jonah Williams in that ball game shape what is the top of the table, a district championship game between Galveston Ball and Lufkin? Fascinating ball game down there near the beach there, Galveston Ball and Lufkin. Number 7. West Orange Stark and Hampshire Finette. A game that somehow, I think, is flying under people's radar, and I don't really understand why. You see, Hampshire Finette, I believe, back into the state rankings this week, is 8-1. They had that one loss on the year back in week 2 to Hitchcock, right? They lost that game to Hitchcock, but since then, they have been absolutely drilling people, like into the core of the earth. And Ty Bryson, their quarterback, is spectacular. He is a lot of fun to watch. That will be a real challenge for a West Orange Shark defense that has been very, very strong under Hiawatha Hickman. Their defense has been great. Their offense feels like it's taken a step. They have the one loss on the year as well. It was a 1-point loss against Nederland, which I think we can agree is a loss that's aged pretty well.
Yeah.
A 4A against a quality, recently state-ranked 5A team. This is for the district championship. They're in District 9 4A Division 1. Straight up, the loser will be second place in the district. This is a fascinating ball game down there. Can Hampshire Finette's offense with Ty Bryson break through against this West Orange Stark defense? A lot on the line there in our number 7 game, West Orange Stark and Hampshire Finette. Number 6. Holiday and Jacksboro. Another game that I feel like is flying under people's radar, and I'm not sure why. Holiday now recently state ranked, and I'll tell you this. The computer loves Holiday. The computer, I'll just tell you this. They have Holiday ranked 4th in the state in 3A Division 2. They really like what they've been able to do.
Is it domination?
Part of it's domination. Part of it is domination, but also part of it is that they have a win over Munster. It's a 2A Division 2.
But Munster is
really the number 2 team in the state.
They are rolling.
Munster. And their 2 losses on the year are to Jim Ned and Benbrook, who are combined 14-4 on the year. That's part of it. The other thing is that the computer is super impressed with what they did a couple weeks ago against Wichita Falls City View.
And I'll tell you how they did that. That offensive line is massive, dude. Like I think they're rocking like an average weight at a 3A Division 1 program of like 280 to 300.
It's crazy.
That's insane.
Their offensive line has been terrific. It will be a real challenge for their offensive line, obviously against what's been a pretty good Jacksboro defense. But what I'm really paying attention to is the Holiday defense when Jacksboro has the ball, because it's Jacksboro offense. Woo! White Gavitt, their quarterback, has been terrific. Luke Sams, their running back, has been awesome. They have a 1,000-yard receiver in Cannon Valenzuela. This team can straight up score. Holiday probably wants to keep this game in the high 20s, low 30s. Jacksboro probably wants to get this game as high as possible. This is a huge, huge game with the district championship more or less on the line. I will say this, though, because Jacksboro does have a loss, an overtime loss to Wichita Falls City View. If Jacksboro wins this game, then they will be 4-1 alongside Holiday, and then I presume there will be a log jam at the top between Holiday, Jacksboro, and City View. We'll have to figure out what the tiebreaker situation looks like there. But if they lose this game, they will finish 3rd in the district, and that could have wide-ranging implications for them in 3A Division in 3A Division 2. This is a Holiday team, or rather a Jacksboro team, that wants to finish as high as possible. If they finish 3rd, I think that they will still be kind of favored there, but they would basically, this is to avoid Gunner as long as possible. That's the name of the game here. So, fascinated by this ball game. Number 5. Abbott and Aquila. I love this game. This is a straight-up 6-man heater there. It is a state-ranked matchup, a matchup of unbeatens there in Aquila. And we talked about this on Tep and Step, where you graciously filled in for Matt Stepp.
Gratefully, graciously.
Both of them.
All of them.
We talked about this game. Abbott's kind of the known commodity. We knew Abbott was going to be pretty good. The playmakers they've got, Paxton Pajovsky, Mason Hell. They've got dudes all over the place. This team is really, really solid across the board. Aquila's the surprise, and Aquila's the surprise because of one guy.
Yeah.
T.C. Hennig. And if you're unfamiliar with T.C. Hennig, he is the freshman phenom for Aquila. A two-way star. Their leading passer, their leading rusher. He has also amazingly caught 3 touchdown passes.
Because why not?
He does a little bit of everything here. He is box office here. This is a real fun matchup for a lot of different reasons. Aquila can certainly make a big statement if they knock off Abbott. This is for a district championship, obviously, both unbeaten. Both teams already in the playoffs. Fascinating ball game, Abbott and Aquila. Number 4, let's get real hipstery. Pasadena First Baptist against Houston Emery Weiner.
You're a sicko.
Okay, but let me tell you something.
It's a great game.
Let me tell you something about this, okay?
It's the back-to-back of following up your 6-man game with...
This is a private school 6-man game. Folks, let me speak to you here.
Let me learn.
Folks, this is number 1 versus number 2 in the 6-man private school ranks. Pasadena First Baptist versus Houston Emery Weiner. Both of these teams, this is like, imagine if this was Duncanville and Northshore, right? Don't get caught up in the fact that it's private school 6-man game. Pay attention to the fact that this is number 1 versus stinking number 2, matchup of unbeatens in week 11. There's so much going on in this one. Emery Weiner has been a powerhouse for a couple of years. Their defense has been absolutely electrifying, but this is a Pasadena First Baptist offense that can absolutely fly offensively, and I want to see what happens when those two kind of units match up against one another. That is what really surprised me in this one. Is I want to see how the Houston Emery Weiner defense deals with Pasadena First Baptist's speed offensively. A massive game, the game of the week in the private school ranks. Pasadena First Baptist and Houston Emery Weiner. We got 3 6-man games on here.
Yeah, that's
the last 3. I'll tell you, the last 3 are 11-man games, but 3.
If you had 4, we would need to deem this the best 6-man week of all time.
What is like let me see if I can find real quick the 4th best 6-man game. At least in the live.
Blum and Milford. That one just has a lot of playoff implications.
Let's see. The 3rd best game. Sands and Klondike is pretty good.
Wow.
Klondike's a team that started off super slow.
And then they picked it back up.
But that's because they played a brutal non-district schedule.
They played like 3 D1 teams.
I think all the teams they played are undefeated or something like that. It's crazy. Anyway. Number 3. Not a 6-man game. Sorry, 6-man folks. Hawley and Stanford.
I love this one.
Let's get busy. 2 teams. Another sorting game in the Wild and Woolly 2A Division 1 Region 1. Of course, Sunray beat Panhandle a couple weeks ago. Now Hawley and Stanford will play one another. And so this is kind of like in a lot of ways, this is like a qualifying matchup here for when we get to the good stuff. The loser of this game plays Sunray in the 2nd round. The winner of this game gets Panhandle in the 2nd round, almost certainly. I want to see what happens when Stanford's outstanding defense, the number 1 defense in 2A Division 1, led by Caston Vega, goes up against Keegan Abels, the superstar quarterback for Hawley. And then I think Christian Duran for Stanford, their quarterback, has been solid as a rock. It's a real let's find out game for both these teams. One thing, and we talked about this, I mentioned this in the picks, between these 2 teams, which are both undefeated, between these 2 teams, they've only played 1 close game when Hawley beat Eastland. That's a 3A team.
Yep.
What happens when, not if, when this game is close? Who comes up? Who's got the stomach for the fight? Really, really interesting game there, Hawley and Stanford. Keep an eye on that one. Number 2. Let's go to North Texas. Malakoff, really East Texas. Malakoff and Winsboro. 3A Division 1, kind of in the spotlight here. It's the number 1 team in 3A Division 1. And we haven't talked a ton about Malakoff this year, and I think it's because we kind of, in large part, we kind of take them for granted. I think they've been a lot better than all the teams that they've played.
Yeah.
I think this is their biggest test of the year. But they've been rock solid. Their quarterback, Mike Jones.
Who?
Mike Jones has been excellent. They've got Jason Tennyson. Their running back has been great. But more importantly for Malakoff, they have the number 1 scoring defense in 3A Division 1, led by Parker Poteet. Their defense has been rock solid. What happens when they deal with Camden Capehart, Tyson Johnson, and the number 5 scoring defense in 3A Division 1 in Winsboro? Winsboro's also got the home field advantage in this one a ton. This is, to me, 3A Division 1, I think, might be the bracket that I'm most fascinated by whenever the brackets come out on Saturday on our bracket reveal show.
Me every year.
We will learn a lot about both of these teams.
Yeah.
And I think the winner of this game is probably the favorite in Region 2.
I would agree.
But it's not the number 1 game of the week. Number 1! Galena Park North Shore at Humble Summer Creek.
Live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
And
Live on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight Watch Along,
That's right.
which we'll get to in a minute.
North Shore and Summer Creek. You know these two teams, state-ranked ball clubs, two teams that were state runners-up a year ago. Summer Creek has been basically outside of one half of football. They have been exceptional. They've been very, very good. They kind of sleptwalked through their first half against Atascocita, and it ended up costing them. They dug back out of it, but essentially it ended up being too deep of a hole because they were able to score late. Aside from that first half, they have been basically flawless. Their defense with Chad Woodfork and company has been terrific. Their quarterback, Blake Thomas, has been electrifying. Here comes an opportunity with North Shore, right? And for North Shore, they have not been as consistently excellent as Summer Creek, I think. Because Summer Creek has basically played 18 halves of football, and 17 of them have been excellent.
Yep.
North Shore has not played 17 excellent halves of football, but they have been spectacular when they need to be. They're come from behind win over Atascocita, obviously. They got into a bit of a dogfight with Kingwood, but pulled away. Caleb Bailey, Quanell Farrakhan, Dion DeBlanc, DeAndre Hardiman, the playmakers are spectacular. Their defense has been excellent all year long with guys like Devin Sanchez. Can North Shore find offensive consistency against this Summer Creek defense? And can Summer Creek find a secondary threat besides Blake Thomas? Blake Thomas has, I think, been doing increasingly more and more for Summer Creek. They've got to have someone else step up, I think, in the running game. Can somebody else step up for them? A massive game. No playoff implications. Literally none.
No.
Literally nothing on the line from a playoff implication perspective. But a box office matchup live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
Speaking of which.
It's the number 1 game of the week. Speaking of which, can we talk a little bit about what we're doing tomorrow night?
How about that?
That's right. In lieu of our normal Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight whip around, we decided, you know what? What if we just watch North Shore and Summer Creek?
What if we give the people the opportunity to watch this banger for free?
Wow, I can't believe we're giving this thing away for free.
On Dave Campbell's Texan Live as our gift to you heading into the playoffs.
It's our Thanksgiving gift for you.
Gobble, gobble.
North Shore and Summer Creek, live, free. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Come watch the game with myself, Ishmael Johnson, Ashley Pickle. We'll be watching this game, a battle of behemoths there in District 23 6A, number 2 versus number 7. It's North Shore and Summer Creek. Kickoff at 7. We'll probably start going live 5-10 minutes before that, right?
Yeah.
So maybe set your clock for like 6:55
yeah.
or so, 6:50, 6:55.
6:50, get in position, make sure you got your queso.
Yeah. Get your pigs in a blanket.
Yeah, and then 6:55, we're rolling.
It's Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. The watch along, North Shore and Summer Creek. We're giving this dang game away for free. I can't believe we're doing this.
Well, and that's got to be the only big show that we're doing this weekend, right? How in the world could you do more than one?
The good thing is that after Friday night, we can all take a breath.
What if I... Hang on.
I'm getting reports.
Yeah, I think there's
from
more coming in.
Brooke Miller reporting to us that she's making
10:30?
us work on Saturday
10:30?
night.
Oh, wow!
What? It's Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight Playoff Bracket Reveal Show. Live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TexasFootball.com, TexanLive.com. Presented by our friends at Dick's Sporting Goods. We will be revealing all 12 UIL Texas High School football playoff brackets exclusively on the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight playoff bracket reveal show.
You can't find that anywhere else.
10:30 p.m. Saturday night.
We party.
10:30 p.m. Saturday night. Myself, Matt Stepp, Ishmael Johnson, Mallory Hartley, Greg Powers, Carter Yates. We're going to be hanging out with you talking some bracketology. Come hang with your boys and your girls. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight playoff bracket reveal show presented by our friends at Dick's Sporting Goods. Saturday night, 10:30 p.m. Right in your Palm Pilot. Come hang out with us. It's the only place you can get the first glance at the Texas high school football playoff brackets. We're really fired up about that.
And not to mention too, once the playoff show is done and we've revealed the brackets, we will be uploading the brackets to texasfootball.com/playoffs, where you can print them out and fill out your brackets. So don't forget to do that.
texasfootball.com/playoffs. Go ahead and bookmark it like now.
Yeah.
texasfootball.com/playoffs. It might be still like last year's playoffs, which is cool. But I promise you, Saturday night, you'll have this year's playoffs. After the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight playoff bracket reveal show presented by our friends at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Pumped up.
So make sure you hang out with us Saturday night. It's a big night of Texas high school football. We are Texas Football Today. We're here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Pickle. Week 11, the final week of the Texas high school football season is upon us. There are huge games everywhere you look across the state. Vianney Moreno
has a lot of courage.
Just shoved me against the wall and said, "You're going to pick these games." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." She's very strong.
She is very strong.
Here's the picks, my high school football predictions for Week 11 on Texas Football Today.
It's the final week of the 2024 Texas high school football regular season, and everything is on the line. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks, your guide to the Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and welcome to really the first big inflection point of the 2024 Texas high school football season, as we have reached the end of the regular season. The playoffs start next week. The brackets are coming out on Saturday, which you can watch revealed on the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight playoff bracket reveal show, 10:30 p.m. Saturday night on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and TexasFootball.com, plus TexanLive.com. But when those brackets come out, then we're going to enter the next phase of the Texas high school football season. And the playoffs will be set. We will understand the stakes in every single game. But what Week 11 provides for us is an opportunity to unwrap the present, an opportunity to look at what the stakes are going to be moving forward, the path that every team must walk to go to AT&T Stadium in Arlington. It is truly the most exciting time of the year, and we can't wait for Texas high school football to get even hotter across the state of Texas. There are massive games with huge implications everywhere you look in the final week of the Texas high school football season. We start in the big country. 7 o'clock Friday night at Shotwell Stadium in Abilene. It is a 5A Division II showdown as the Amarillo Palo Duro Dons visit the Abilene Cooper Cougars. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number one, Palo Duro's youth movement. Everywhere you look on Coach Eric Mims's Palo Duro squad, you will see young stars, guys that they are expecting to be contributors for years and years going forward, especially on the offensive side. Quarterback Julian Reese is just a sophomore. Their star running back Raymond Johnson, also just a sophomore, and their leading receiver in Darian Lewis is just a junior. In fact, for Palo Duro, their top four rushers and their top four receivers are all underclassmen. They have a lot of football left to play out in front of them. Abilene Cooper is a little bit more of a veteran squad led by seniors like their quarterback Adam Cummins. The question in this one is, does the senior leadership give Cooper an edge, or will youth be served for Palo Duro? Key number two, which defense shows up? So I'm going to try to be kind here when I say that for both of these teams, let's say the offense is the more consistent part of their team. Both these defenses have tended to struggle. Abilene Cooper ranks 64th in scoring defense in 5A Division II. Palo Duro not a whole lot better at 57th. They're both averaging about 27 points allowed per game. But in a critical Week 11 showdown, defense is going to be absolutely critical. Can guys like Abilene Cooper, defensive back Jeremiah Appel, step up? What about Palo Duro, star linebacker Kamaj Barnes? Can they come up with big splash plays on the defensive side? This feels like the kind of game where the defenses can take a back seat, especially considering the firepower on the offensive side, but which defense can step up when it matters most? And key number 3, win or go home. So you might be asking, Tepper, why are you spotlighting Palo Duro and Cooper? These two teams are combined 8 and 10 on the year. They're not exactly at the top of the Texas high school football state rankings. And that is true, but the stakes in this game literally could not be higher. You see, this is a straight up playoff game. The winner of this game is the number 4 seed out of District 2 5A Division 2. They will take on El Paso del Valle next week in the first round of the playoffs. The loser of this game, their season is over. It's done. This is win or go home. If you win this week, you get to practice another week and live to see another day. And if you lose, then you are blowing up basketballs. The stakes could not be higher. And with those stakes comes pressure. Every player in this game and every coach in this game understands what's on the line. And that is going to lead to some wild football on Friday night. We're going to be pulling out all the stops. There are going to be big plays back and forth, big momentum swings, and the question here is which team can handle the moment better. So, in a win or go home situation, which team flourishes and which team falters? Who am I picking? I'm going with Palo Duro. The Dons get the nod here thanks to their dynamic offense. I really think this sophomore quarterback, Julian Reese, is getting better as the season goes on. Plus, they've got the running game with Raymond Johnson. They are versatile and dynamic. Now, for Cooper, they are coming off an open date, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game, and I think that is critical in this ball game, and especially being at home at Shotwell Stadium, I think that gives them a real advantage. But in the end, I think the dynamic offense for Palo Duro, paired with what I think is a little bit more of a trustworthy defense, gets the job done. I think the Dons are heading for the playoffs. I think Amarillo Palo Duro gets a critical win. Let's go to Houston, 7 o'clock Friday night at Turner Stadium in Humble. It is a top 10 showdown in 6A as the Humble Summer Creek Bulldogs welcome in the Galena Park Northshore Mustangs. Now, there's no playoff implications in this. Humble Summer Creek is locked into their seed in the Division II bracket, and Northshore is locked into their seed in the Division I bracket. They will meet on Friday night and then go their separate ways. However, there is a lot as far as confidence heading into the playoffs is concerned. For Humble Summer Creek, they have the 1 loss on the year to Atascocita, and the quarterback Blake Thomas has been absolutely sensational. We know how good their defense is, led by Chad Woodfork. My question in this one is going to be who steps up alongside Blake Thomas. To beat this North Shore defense led by Devin Sanchez, you have to be multifaceted. You have to have a variety of different threats. It can't just be Blake Thomas. As good as he has got to have a running buddy that goes out there and lifts offensively. For North Shore, they are undefeated, looking to close out another undefeated regular season, and of course the defense has been terrific. But I look at the offense led by quarterback Caleb Bailey and running back DeAndre Hardeman, and part of me wonders where that consistency is, right? We know the weaponry they have, and yet sometimes the offense has been fits and starts. Sometimes the offense has been a little bit stuck in the mud. When they're going good, they're one of the best offenses in Texas high school football, hard stop, but it hasn't always been good. Can they find that consistency in week 11 of the Texas high school football season? This game is fascinating. In the end, though, North Shore's won 50 consecutive district games. I ain't picking against the streak. I think North Shore comes away with a narrow and exciting win. Let's go to 3A, 7 o'clock Friday night at Red Raider Stadium in Winsboro. It is a huge top 10 3A Division I showdown as the Malakoff Tigers take on the Winsboro Red Raiders. And we're going to find out a lot about the shape of what 3A Division I looks like, which may in fact be the most exciting bracket in Texas high school football when we get to the playoffs starting next week. Winsboro's offense has been absolutely electric. The number 5 scoring offense in all of 3A Division I, thanks in large part to Camden Capehart, their outstanding wide wide receiver who recently committed to Mississippi State, and their running game led by Tyson Johnson. The defense has been pretty darn good as well. They get a shot at the #1 team, the undefeated defending state champs in the Malakoff Tigers. We haven't talked a ton about this year, and I think part of it is like we just don't know how good they are. They haven't really been tested. Some of the games that they played in non-district against teams like Grandview, Lorena, Madisonville, those teams haven't panned out to be the kind of challenges we thought that they would be. We know the star power they've got. Quarterback Mike Jones, Mike Jones has been absolutely terrific. I think they've got a ton of playmakers on the outside, but the thing that sets Malakoff apart, and the reason I'm picking them, is their defense, which has been lights out, led by linebacker Parker Poteet. I think the defense is the difference. I think Malakoff polishes off a perfect regular season. Now let's go to 2A. 7 o'clock Friday night at Bill Anderson Stadium in Stamford is another top 10 matchup. This one a matchup of unbeatens as the Stamford Bulldogs welcome in the Hawley Bearcats. This is another Region 1 sorting matchup here in 2A Division 1. You remember a couple weeks ago we had that epic game between Panhandle and Sunray. Now comes the next chapter in kind of figuring out what Region 1 is going to look like with Stamford and Hawley. Stamford's the #1 team in 2A Division 1. They have looked exceptional. Their quarterback Christian Duran's been great, but they have the #1 scoring defense in all of 2A Division 1, led by Caston Vega. Their defense has been lights out. Well, here comes Hawley with their superstar, do-it-all quarterback Keegan Abels, who is absolutely box office, one of the most fun players in Texas high school football. Can the Bearcats continue their strong defensive run of play of late? One thing to note in this game, neither of these teams have been in a close game, right? Hawley was in one back in like week 4. They won a 1-point game over Eastland. But other than that, every other game has been decided by multiple scores. What happens when these two teams get in a close game? What happens when the game, kind of becomes high stakes, high leverage? That's what I'm interested in this one. I think home field advantage helps, and I think that the defense for Stamford stands tall. I think the Bulldogs finish off a perfect regular season. But those are far from the only big games in the final week of the 2024 Texas High School Football regular season. Let's get to the lightning round. In our 6-man game of the week, it's a matchup of unbeatens. I like Abbott over Aquila. Give me Bay City to take down Port Lavaca Calhoun, and Arp gets by West Rusk. I like Brady over Clifton. Give me Canadian over Childress, and Austin Vandergrift finishes the regular season hot with a win over Round Rock. I like Canyon West Plains over Hereford. Huge game on the coast. I like Corpus Christi Flower Bluff over Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial, and give me Austin Westlake over Dripping Springs. I like Dilion to get by Hamilton. Give me East Bernard over Tidehaven, and give me Bernie to beat Kerrville-Tybee. I like Fort Bend Crawford over Navasota. Give me Killeen Harker Heights over Temple, and a huge game in Cy-Fair ISD. I like Bridgeland over Cy Woods. I'm going with Holiday over Jacksboro. And our private school game of the week, it's a matchup of unbeatens in the private school 6-man ranks. I like Houston Emory Weiner over Pasadena First Baptist, and give me El Paso Eastlake over El Paso Coronado. I like Huffman Hargrave over Bridge City. Liberty Hill wins its district championship with a win over Bastrop, and give me El Paso Pebble Hills over El Paso Franklin. I'm going with Lindsay over Era. Lufkin gets by a wounded Galveston Ball, and in the wild and woolly Frisco ISD, I like Frisco Lone Star over Frisco Reedy. Give me Mart over Goldthwaite. In the mascot matchup of the week, I like the Mason Punchers over the San Saba Armadillos, and give me Frisco Panther Creek to beat Sulphur Springs. Peaster gets by Vernon. Pflugerville Weiss gets a big win over Austin Anderson, and Garrison stays hot with a win over Joaquin. I like Poth over Dilley. Give me Pottsboro over Whitesboro, and Georgetown squeaks by Cedar Park. I think Refugio stays hot with a win over Three Rivers. Straight up playoff game in San Antonio. I like Taft over O'Connor, and a huge game in Southeast Texas. I like Hampshire Finette over West Orange Stark. I like San Diego over Lifer. Give me Shallowater over Dalhart, and down in the valley, give me Harlingen South over Weslaco East. Is there a hotter team in Texas than Pleasant Grove? I don't know, but I think they beat Van. Highland Park wins another district championship with a win over Midlothian, and Lovelady squeaks by Grapeland. In the Little Southwest Conference, I like Midland over Odessa Permian. Straight up playoff game out east, I like Mount Enterprise over Alto, and I think Nederland bounces back with a win over Montgomery. North Crowley beats rival Crowley. I like Panhandle to beat Spearman, and Post gets by Abernathy. I like San Antonio Piper over Bernie Champion, and Sweetwater gets by Jim Madden. It's win and in Deep East Texas. I think Timpson beats San Augustine, and in the first of a new rivalry, I like Wichita Falls Memorial over Wichita Falls Legacy. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Which games I leave out? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Remember, Saturday night, 10:30 p.m., the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight Playoff Bracket Reveal Show. Live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, texasfootball.com, and texanlive.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the final week of the Texas high school football regular season. We'll see you.
There it is, the picks, my high school football predictions for Week 11 of the Texas high school football season per usual. I guarantee you I got at least one of those right. Pickle, let's go to the hotline. Let's go to Van Zant County. Let's talk with the guy who might run for county commissioner out there. He's so popular. We're joined by the head coach of the Grand Saline Indians, the 9-0 Grand Saline Indians, Coach Joe Drennon. Coach, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. I appreciate y'all having us on.
Well, we appreciate you taking a little bit of time. I know you guys are preparing for a big game coming up to close out the regular season. You guys are 9-0 to start the year. This is a Grand Saline program that hasn't been 10-0 or finished the regular season undefeated since 1999. If I had told you before the season that you'd be entering the final regular season game undefeated, would you have believed me?
Well, I would have wanted to. I don't know. Yeah, I tell you what, I had a lot of faith in our kids. They put in a lot of work, and I felt like if we could get by the first two games, that we had a shot. And when we did, and our kids have played really, really well. So I'm very proud of them for that.
You know, one of the things, Coach, is you've got, of course, state championship experience. You led Mineola to that state championship back in 2016. And so you understand kind of the differences between kind of mediocre teams, good teams, and great teams. Have you been able to identify some things within this Grand Saline team that are reflective of what you saw back in 2016 with that Mineola squad?
Yes, sir. The thing that I compare them to the most is, and I know this sounds silly, but it's how much they love playing this game. Mm-hmm. I made that statement in 2016 when we won it. I said, I promise you, if somebody wanted to play next Friday, these kids would want to line up and play. And that's the way these kids here are. The only difference is I don't have as much depth here as I had at that place, but boy, these kids absolutely love playing the game, and their attention to detail is just really, really good. And it's kind of the same way it was there. We're just going to see how this thing plays out. I like our chances of getting to play a little while.
You guys have obviously, the record kind of, you are what your record says you are, as a man once said. You guys are off to a 9-0 mark, and it's easy to see why. One of the reasons is the difference in the defense. Last year at 4-6, you guys, were giving up about 27 points a game. You guys have basically cut that by a third, down and a half at least, down to about 15 points per game.
We have, and some of those points on that people have scored is when we're late in the games, when we're letting other kids play and stuff. So I'm really proud of our defense. Our defensive staff, Coach Chitty and the guys, they have done a really, really good job of just like I said, paying attention to detail a while ago. They've done a really good job of doing that, and our kids have bought in. They're playing extremely fast right now, and they've just done some good things, and it's all about a buy-in, and I think the kids have done that, and I know the coaching staff has.
Another guy who has been a real difference maker for you is your QB1, Jet Taylor. Yeah. He's already a 1,500-yard rusher and a 1,000-yard passer. What is it about your QB1, Jet Taylor, that makes him special?
Number one, he's a student of the game. I can't keep him out of my office. I'm talking about in the summertime, all the time. He's just in my office wanting to watch film with me, wanting to talk football, and then his work ethic is unmatched. Probably one of the hardest working kids I've ever had, or not probably, he is one of the hardest working kids I've ever had. And then on top of that, he's just a tremendous leader. The kids believe in him. They know that when Jet takes the field, he's going to give you everything he's got. Good or bad, he's going to go as hard as he can go all the time. And that's why he is the player he is. I mean, he's got really good parents who have brought him up. His dad, has accepted nothing except the best out of him, and he does it here on the field. He holds himself to a standard that's unmatched by a lot of people.
Talking with,
and yeah.
talking with Joe Drennon, the head coach of the Grand Saline Indians here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation in #TFDay. Coach, another guy that I think it can't go, Jet Taylor, your quarterback is a junior. Another guy who's been so important for you guys is your senior running back, Colt Boyd, a guy who's already over almost 1,200 yards. How important has he been, not just running the ball, but just his leadership to what you guys have been able to do?
Colt is a tremendous football player. He is a tremendous football player. And, he's got people looking at him to come play. He's one of those guys that can play outside linebacker. He can play inside linebacker. He can play running back. He can play H-back. Probably play tight end. I mean, he's just that kid. And his work ethic, too, is the same as Jet's. I know he came in a little bit heavy last year. He went – my son's a strength coordinator, and they got together and Colt trimmed down, got down to about 210, and got his speed down real good. And Colt, if you didn't notice, he did not get to play in our first football game this year because of a knee injury. Mm-hmm. He got cleared for the second game, and then you saw our offense just take off. He's a difference maker on the football field. Just a great player. His work ethic he's like Jet. He's going to work to be the best that he can be.
Coach, we mentioned 1999, the last time Grand Saline finished a regular season undefeated. It's also the last time they won a district championship outright. Is that something you guys talk about, or is it just one foot in front of the other?
Well, it's to be honest with you, it's one foot in front of the other. Now we're probably won the district championship. Our kids got to celebrate that last week because it's already been sealed. But like I told them, it sure would be nice to put a 10-0 on that thing instead of a 9-1. And that's the thing about our team. And it again reminds me of 2016 and 15 and stuff. Those kids they know the most important game's the next one. I mean, we preach it to them. We preach them the next play is the most important play because you can't do anything about the one that just happened, good or bad. And they believe in that, and with that they keep the focus on what the long term goal is. And they believe they can win, and that's the main thing about winning. You got to believe you can win before you're going to do it.
And finally, Coach, to get that 10-0, you guys are on the road tomorrow night at Quitman, taking on a Bulldogs program that, at 3-6, I think people might look at the record and say, well, this isn't going to be much. But I know that this is a team that's scrapping and clawing for a playoff spot. When you take a look at what you're up against tomorrow night, what do you see?
Well, number one, Coach Weber and his staff, they do a really good job. He's done a really good job with that program at that school. And I see they got a really good quarterback. They throw the ball well, they run the ball well, and their defense runs around pretty well. So the thing is, I'm hoping we get to play the thing. The weather is really bad down here right now. We're supposed to get bad weather tomorrow night, but I hope we get to play it. It's going to be at their home place on grass field, and we haven't touched grass this year. So that's going to be a challenge for us. And on a wet grass field, that'd be an even bigger challenge for us. So, we got to keep our focus and go do what I think we're capable of doing and play the way I know we're capable of playing. And I think the outcome will be favorable for us. But same token, we know we got to go play because I tell them all the time, hey, guys, you know how this game is. You go in overconfident, don't think that, and you don't play your best game, you can lose at any time. You go home disappointed when you shouldn't be.
He's Joe Drennon. He's the head coach of the state-ranked undefeated Grand Saline Indians. Coach, we appreciate your time. Congratulations, and best of luck tomorrow night or whenever you guys get this game in.
You bet. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. There he goes. Joe Drennon, head coach. The Grand Saline Indians join us here at Texas Football Today. And, he was a guy who led Mineola to that state championship back in 2016. And he's got a thing for orange, I'll say that. But he has been consistently kind of building this program up, and Grand Saline, it's worth mentioning. It's not like when I say that they have finished a regular season undefeated in 25 years. It's not like in between they've been coming close. Okay,
right.
It's been a lot of a 6-win year is like a nice year there in Grand Saline. They have been under Joe Drennon. They have been consistently building there and making this thing. This feels like the culmination. And by the way, Jet Taylor, their quarterback, just a junior, so he's coming back as well. They're going to be a problem for a while and a problem in the playoffs too. But we appreciate Joe Drennon hopping on with us. We're Texas Football Today. We're here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's, follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course see us at TexasFootball.com, TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. Watch dozens and dozens and dozens, hundreds even, of live Texas high school football playoff games starting next week.
Yeah.
That's the sell. That's what I'm offering to you.
Yeah,
right
the
now.
cool people are doing it, so do it.
TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Coming up here in just a moment, we will see if Craig Way, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer, is subscribed to Dave Campbell's Texas Football. I think he is.
He definitely is.
But first, let's pay some bills.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support, virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
30-yard line, the 20, the 10. Touchdown!
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wing's drones get you quick, no-contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Hi, back here on Texas Football Today. Getting geared up. Reminder, tomorrow night you can watch Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. We will be doing a watch-along, giving away the Northshore Summer Creek game. That's right, live, for free, everywhere. If you go to TexanLive.com, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, we'll be streaming it with commentary from myself, Ishmael Johnson, and Ashley Pickle. And then Saturday night, the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight bracket reveal show, revealing all 12 UIL Texas High School football playoff brackets. One guy who is fired up about the playoff brackets, as he calls it, unwrapping the present. We're joined by the Texas High School Hall of Famer, our friend Craig Way. Mr. Way, happy holidays to you.
Yeah, it is. 'Tis the season, isn't it? And you're right. I don't think that I have ever been as happy to have an 11 a.m. kickoff for a Texas game as I am this week, knowing the game will be completed. Our post-game show will be done. I'll be back home ensconced in my living room and bracket up and watching you bracket away.
It's going to be fun. Yeah, you've got the 11 a.m. kick, so unfortunately you won't be able to join us on High School Scoreboard Live, I don't believe. Let's talk a little bit about this, the first, your day job there. Saturday morning, you guys, as the Texas Longhorns welcome in the Florida Gators. I am curious, coming off of last week and an open date and figuring things out, where with a Florida team that is wounded, do you get the sense that Texas is focused on this particular challenge as maybe, there have been better Florida teams in the past. Do you get the feeling that that they are focused on what's coming their way on Saturday morning?
I do. And by the way, you are correct. I won't be with you on Scoreboard Live, but it's because we have a basketball game at home tomorrow night. Home opener for the Longhorn men's basketball team, which is why I won't be able to be in studio with you guys tomorrow night. But to your question, yes, and it's for a variety of reasons. First off, Texas is coming off a bye week, an open date, so obviously they're dialed in on the next opponent. They've also seen a Florida team that, while being 4-4, has played much better in the second half of this season as it gotten underway. They took care of Kentucky. They beat Mississippi State. They lost in overtime at Tennessee. And then, they're in a 20-20 ball game with Georgia with 7 minutes to go in the game last week before Georgia pulled away. Now, yes, they have sustained some injuries, most notably at the quarterback spot. Graham Mertz first out with the knee injury, and then DJ Lagway, as we all know, you're Mr. Texas Football from Willis, had a hamstring issue. Now, they were working him out yesterday, and they think there's a chance he might be able to play on Saturday. Now, the thing about the SEC, as you know, Tip, is they do the NFL-style injury report. So we'll know certainly by he may be listed as questionable going into Saturday, but they're trying to get him ready to go. And if they don't if they don't have him ready to go, the guy who came in and played for him played pretty well. He's a pretty interesting story. He's from Florida and went to Yale, played 1 year, wanted to come back to Florida as a walk-on, made the team as a walk-on, and then during a routine physical, they noticed the highlight video he sent them to get on the team showed him with a torn ACL doing all the things. So they got him fixed, and he doesn't blink. And so he'll be ready to go. Aiden Warner. It'll be interesting to watch him on Saturday if indeed he's the one who's playing quarterback.
The Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer, joins us every Thursday on Texas Football Today. All right, Craig, it's on to the high school football ranks, and as you, a phrase that we've more or less just kind of cribbed each other's phrases. You'll drop a Crazy Town Banana Pants every once in a while.
Yes, indeed.
Opening the present is what I've cribbed from you, and that is week 11, the Texas high school football season, is when we finally get a gander at the Texas high school football playoff brackets and what the rest of the season is going to look like. So when we crack open that present at Saturday night, what bracket are you most excited to really dive into and really start considering what the ramifications are?
Well, there's two. And by the way, something that'll not make you feel old, but will make me feel old, but I'll say it anyway. I've been using that phrase about unwrapping the playoff package since 1985. So, that's only to make people know that I've been a little more advanced in years, that sort of thing, since that happened. But how old were you in 1985? Were you even on the earth?
1985? I was a spark. I was a glimmer in my parents' eyes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So there you go.
Sorry about that.
But to your question, I think the two brackets that I might be most intrigued by are 3A Division 1 and 5A Division 2. Mm-hmm. 4A D1 holds some intrigue for me as well, and 6A is 6A, but 2A D1 can be a lot of fun looking out at Region 1, but 3A Division 1 is just chock full of the unknown, I believe, even though you have a defending state champion who looks fine as a defending state champion, but there are plenty of other contenders there, and that's why I think that thing is going to be fun to watch. There's same thing with 5AD2 because of what we talked about the prospect and possibility of a rematch of the state championship only happening in round 2, though, or at least in region 2 between South Oak Cliff and P&G. But there's other intriguing matchups there. In fact, both divisions of 5A could be a lot of fun. You were on my show the other day, and we talked about there's the possibility, the mathematical possibility of a bi-district matchup between Highland Park and Cedar Park. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things that leaped off the page at me when the realignment came out. I thought, look at 7-5AD1 and 8-5AD1. Mm-hmm. Well, that's 7-5A was kind of far-flung, as we mentioned, where Highland Park was having new district opponents. But 8-5AD1 moving up into Region 2 for the Greater Austin and Super Centex region carried its own special interest, I would say.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think you and I, more or less, and about a handful of other people, many of whom work in this building, are the people that when realignment come out, we look at things differently, and not only do we look at the big picture, but also we get down to the nitty gritty and start looking at this is what bi-district matchups are going to be. This feels like a week where all of us in a united voice get to shout and say, see, we're not crazy. All these things we were thinking about back in February, they're finally important.
Yeah, I look at those things, and you and I talked about those things back in February. It's like, look at this. Did you see this? And I know it kind of raised our eyebrows. And sometimes it doesn't come into play. Sometimes it doesn't come into being. But other times it does, and it makes for real. And what we're talking about are the potential of certain playoff matchups between schools in divisions already set up. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we know in 6A it doesn't happen until the postseason. That said, and I know I'm in the minority in this, as long as 6A is the top classification, or even if there's a 7A, whatever the top classification, is on down the road. I know I'm in the minority on this. I hope they never change it in terms of determining. You know why? Because we get things like going into the final week of the regular season with a game between Hutto and McNeil where win and you're in, but that's not enough. If Hutto wins, then you have a completely different structure and by-district opponents for Westlake and Lake Travis in the by-district round in Division I. If McNeil wins, it happens in Division II. So that's happening in different pockets across the state, and that can only happen in 6A, and that's why I like it.
Final question for Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer. It's the meanest thing we do to each other each week. And actually, I'm going to give you a gift, which is that I'm going to give you the same 3 games that you gave me last week on your show on Tuesday, the Craig Way Show on AM 1300 The Zone. You can teleport to Summer Creek Northshore, you can teleport to Winsboro and Malakoff, or you can teleport to Abbott and Aquila. Which of those 3 games are you heading to?
Yeah, they're all real good stories. I know you went with, and it makes all the sense in the world to go with Summer Creek Northshore, even though they're going their separate ways in the playoffs. It's kind of a tester game for Summer Creek to see, where they're ready to go, having already played Atascocita in that crazy game, or the Atascocita Northshore game being the crazy game that it was. So I can understand people leaning that way. Aquila Abbott is one of those prove it to me games for Aquila, and I think the same holds true for Winsboro. I think all of those are really good. I'm also curious about Highland Park and Midlothian to see how for real Midlothian is against Highland Park. But backed into a corner, I'm probably going to go with Summer Creek Northshore.
Oh, okay. Not a bad choice on the board, and all 3 of them are pretty good. He's Craig Way.
One other thing, Tep, I'll just say this too, and we've talked about this. For folks who don't know, there's a really cool thing going on there in Hill County, Ellis County, there with Aquila, Abbott, and Avalon, and they're all 1A 6-man Division I, and they are combined 27-0 right now. And Avalon is a really good story, and they're in a different district as Abbott and Aquila play for a district title, and all of that stuff sorts it out over time. But it's a really cool story to see that little pocket there in a 2-county area means what it means right now.
Well, and especially, not to belabor the point, but especially with 6-man football, for those who don't know, that is a West Texas thing. Like, West Texas has long dominated. For it to be on I-35 is a real remarkable kind of geographical turnabout.
Yes, that's the thing that I think is so crazy and fun and like that. We're used to seeing that out, past the big country region to the basin, and seeing the Westbrooks and some of the other ones like that, and even up in the Panhandle, it was like that way for a while, and the Microplex out there around Gordon. We're used to seeing those things. We're not used to seeing that on the I-35 corridor, or if you're going, from Waxahachie, you take Farm to Market 55 to go down to Avalon. But it's just we're not used to seeing that in the area, and that's what I think is what makes it extra special this year.
He's Craig Way. He's the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. You can hear him on the Craig Way Show, AM 1300 The Zone, every day, and then you can hear him call Texas Longhorns basketball tomorrow night, and then hear him call Texas football on Saturday morning. He'll have a little Austin doubleheader there, and he will be with us every Thursday throughout the course of the season. Craig, appreciate your time, my friend, and we will talk to you on Scoreboard via the miracle of technology on Friday.
I will zoom it on in, and yes, I will be glued to the laptop when you have bracket reveal.
Thanks a lot, Craig.
Bye, Craig.
There he goes. Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer. He dropped this is a good re-up of the best idea we've ever had here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
Having Craig on the show?
Well, yes, that too. But more importantly about Craig is because of his ability to identify and know just every road in the state of Texas.
Correct.
Craig Ways. Craig Ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is $1 billion idea.
That is really good.
I would pay a significant sum of money
To have Craig tell me where to go.
where to turn, and then also be like, and if you look to your left, you'll see the stadium for the San Sama Armadillos. Of course, they play on a graveyard.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I
That'd
would
be
pay
sick.
a significant sum of money for that. Anyway, thanks, Craig. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts, and see if she's got any questions from the peeps.
Yeah, 2 of them. One of them directed at me. So
Ooh, yeah.
Hold your horses.
Get her.
Hey, Pickle, who's your pick for Bastrop versus Liberty Hill? I know Tepper picked Liberty Hill already, but you at least have recognized our defense coming from Bastrop.
True enough.
I will say this. I think this is the single most even district game that Liberty Hill has had in years.
Yeah.
District game.
I would need to go back through the district. Your point's well taken. It's a very
District game.
It is a very tough district game for sure.
And it's funny too because if you look at the results, obviously they're in the same district, so they've played all the same teams. If you look at the results, they almost mirror each other from an exact numbers perspective too. So I think it is a very evenly matched game. I think that if you want points, it's going to be pointsy as all get out. Who can make the 1 to 2 big stops? I think this is the most that Liberty Hill has ever been tested, but I'm not going to pick against them in like their streak of just running through their district every single time.
Computers got is a pick 'em, which feels right.
Yeah.
Bastrop's certainly capable of doing it. One of the things and the reason I picked Bastrop, or I'm sorry, the reason I picked Liberty Hill is big game experience. It's all new for Jake Griedel's Bears. It's all new. For Liberty Hill, this is just another year.
Which, again, can go into their favor, too, because when you know that you have this one game that you pour your entire heart and soul into and you can you can go out and have a historic season that you haven't had, Liberty Hill's going to have to be ready for that, but I think that they're going to be ready for it. This is the time of year when they start playing tough competition because it's playoffs, basically.
Yep.
So I think that Bastrop could absolutely do it, and I would tip my cap to them if they can, but it's hard to pick against Liberty Hill in a district game.
Furthermore, about Bastrop's defense, which has been very good this year, I agree. Largely, Liberty Hill, in my opinion, it is not a measure of how good your defense is. It is to a certain extent, but it is a measure of how well you defend Liberty Hill.
Yeah.
And we just don't know.
We just don't know. Navarro's not running the slot T.
Yes.
That it's an added layer of scariness. Yeah. Okay, and then this one's a really good one, and Stepp said that he could do a 10-minute presentation on this selection, which would actually be kind of cool. But what is the process on how coaches agree to neutral sites for the playoffs? Is it an easy process, or do coaches argue about it?
It depends.
It depends on who the coaches are.
It depends. Sometimes,
and the stakes.
Sometimes it's very easy. Sometimes coaches will say, hey, we love playing at such and such stadium. The coach says, yeah, sure. Sometimes when they can't, sometimes coaches will say, we want to flip for home and home. And even if if the coach is like, hey, we'll meet you halfway, they'll say, no, we want to flip for home and home. That can be a strategic advantage of we want to get you in a far-flung area, or we think that we think that you traveling is going to be a problem.
A lot of West
you.
Texas teams will flip for home and home because it's like, okay, yeah, we're used to traveling if we have to go, but by the chance that South Lake Carroll, someone has to come out to Midland,
Clint Hartman, our friend at Midland Legacy, is a mainstay of his. He's like, we're going to try to get you out in Midland, and we may have to travel the Metroplex, but we're willing to take that risk. Sometimes it gets contentious.
The other layer of this that I feel like people might not recognize that I think plays a big factor in it is some coaches use the decision about the officiating crew as well to kind of negate the home and home. Okay, that's fine, we can play at your place, but it's our officiating crew preference that gets selected. So those it's more than just we're gonna play at this neutral site. You have to think about what refs from what areas you're bringing in as well.
That is Stepp is exactly right. That is a 50,000 foot view on it. Stepp could go into the granular detail of how these things work. I would say that 80% of them are relatively easy and friendly, and that feels like a place in the middle, and we like the stadium or something like that. Another 15% go to a flip for a home neutral flip or a home and home flip and stuff like that, and then 5 of them just get straight up contentious, and they're just no, we want to fight, we're going to come up with an agreement, we don't agree on anything. So But yeah, so that's
Coach Terry Crawford in the comments saying, "Oh, how I could write a book on selection of playoff sites."
Yeah, because I mean, there's the other thing is like,
that would be the fun, like, it's 60 minutes or 30 for 30 thing to do is follow coaches around.
It's another thing about this, and this is a small thing, but like you heard Joe Drennon mention it. Quitman has a grass field.
Yep.
There are some teams that are like, yeah, we want to go play on turf, or we want to go play on grass. And there are teams that are maybe if they have a speed disadvantage, if they know they have a speed disadvantage, they're going to try to get a team on a grass field.
Yep.
You know, so there's a lot that goes on.
I mean, weather too. Weather's a huge thing when you start talking about it, especially in like area round when you start to see like the cross regional ones. You get into the thing of, okay, well, it could be super cold out in West Texas, but it's not here yet. We haven't played a cold game all year long. Or in Houston, it's still boiling hot outside, you know. So it's a lot of factors. It's fun.
Fun time. TexasFootball.com/playoffs will have everything you want. A reminder, tomorrow night, watch Northshore and Summer Creek live for free as part of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Watch along Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TexanLive.com, TexasFootball.com. And then Saturday night, stay up late with us. The Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight Playoff Bracket Reveal Show presented by our friends at Dick's Sporting Goods. Saturday night, 10:30 p.m., wherever you're watching this, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TexanLive.com, TexasFootball.com, with myself, Matt Stepp, Mallory Hartley, Greg Powers, Carter Yates, the whole crew coming out here. A ton of people behind the scenes making it happen as well. Texas Football Tonight Playoff Bracket Reveal Show presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, 10:30 p.m. Saturday night. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Joe Drennon, head coach of the Grand Saline Indians, and to Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer, for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please win your Player of the Year trophy. Monday, the playoff prediction extravaganza on Texas Football Today.
Can't stop, won't stop.